Hey family, this is day 61 of our Reading Through the Bible Together in a Year series. Today we're starting a new book, the book of Joshua or Yehoshua in the Hebrew. Now, already what we've done in the past 60 days this year is we've gone through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. The first 5 books, which in Christian circles is known as the Pentateuch and in Jewish circles is known as the Torah. Right, so now we're starting into the next section, and I'm doing the readings in the order of the Hebrew Bible, not the Christian ordering. It's the same books, but it's just a different order. And so it's going to stay mostly the same with some changes along the way. But we start into the second section out of 3 of the Hebrew Bible, and this will be called the Nevi'im. So we've already done the Torah, now we're doing the Nevi'im, which just means prophets. So Nevi meaning prophet, and Im being the plural, Nevi'im. Now, it's mostly the same for a little bit, except no Ruth, and so we're going to hit Joshua, Judges, Samuel 1 and 2, Kings 1 and 2. Chronicles is in the 3rd section, so Chronicles is moved. And then we go directly into the prophets Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. And so that'll be the 3 major prophets, and the minor prophets, or the book of the 12, will be at the end. So that's encompassing the entire Nevi'im, the middle section of the Hebrew Bible that we're about to dive into. I know that may be a little bit more than you care about, but to me, it's awesome and it's fascinating. And there's a history as to why the Hebrew Bible order is different than the Christian order of the Hebrew Bible. So you should look into that, or, we could talk about it, but it's an interesting and fascinating history. But today we're starting Yehoshua, and we're doing chapters 1 through 4. So, narrative context, Moses has died, and they're about to enter into the promised land, and Joshua is in charge. So, let's see how it goes. Now after the death of Moshe, the servant of Yahweh, Yahweh spoke to Yehoshua, the son of Nun, Moshe's servant, saying, Moshe, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go across this Yarden, you and all these people, to the land which I am giving to them, even to the children of Israel. I have given you every place that the sole of your foot will tread on, as I told Moshe. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even to the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your border. No man will be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so I will be with you. I will not fail you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, for you shall cause this people to inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous. Be careful to observe to do according to all the law which Moshe my servant commanded you. Don't turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may have good success wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous, and then you shall have good success. Haven't I commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't be dismayed, for Yahweh your God is with you wherever you go. Then Yehoshua commanded the officers of the people, saying, Pass through the middle of the camp, and command the people, saying, Prepare food, for within 3 days you are to pass over this Yarden, to go in to possess the land which Yahweh your God gives you to possess. Yehoshua spoke to the Reubenites and to the Gadites and to the half-tribe of Manasseh, saying, Remember the word which Moshe the servant of Yahweh commanded you, saying, Yahweh your God gives you rest, and will give you this land. Your wives, your little ones, and your livestock shall live in the land which Moshe gave you beyond the Yarden. But you shall pass over before your brothers, armed all the mighty men of valor, and shall help them until Yahweh has given your brothers rest, as he has given you, and they have also possessed the land which Yahweh your God gives them. Then you shall return to the land of your possession and possess it, which Moshe the servant of Yahweh gave you beyond the Yarden toward the sunrise. They answered Yehoshua, saying, All that you have commanded us we will do, and wherever you send us we will go. Just as we listened to Moshe in all things, so we will listen to you. Only may Yahweh your God be with you, as he was with Moshe. Whoever rebels against your commandment and doesn't listen to your words in all that you command him, shall himself be put to death. Only be strong and courageous. Yehoshua the son of Nun secretly sent 2 men out of Shittim as spies, saying, Go view the land, including Jericho. They went and came into the house of a prostitute whose name was Rachav, and slept there. The king of Jericho was told, Behold, men of the children of Israel came in here tonight to spy out the land. Yericho's king sent to Rachav, saying, "Bring out the men who have come to you, who have entered into your house, for they have come to spy out all the land." The woman took the 2 men and hid them. Then she said, "Yes, the men came to me, but I didn't know where they came from. About the time of shutting the gate, when it was dark, the men went out. Where the men went, I don't know. Pursue them quickly, you may catch up with them." But she had brought them up to the roof and hidden them under the stalks of flax which she had laid in order on the roof. The men pursued them along the way to the fords of the Yarden River. As soon as those who pursued them had gone out, they shut the gate. Before they had lain down, she came up to them on the roof. She said to the men, "I know that Yahweh has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. For we have heard how Yahweh dried up the water of the Red Sea before you, when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Yarden, to Sihon and to Og, whom you utterly destroyed. As soon as we had heard it, our hearts melted, and there wasn't any more spirit in any man, because of you. For Yahweh your God, He is God, in heaven above and on earth beneath. Now therefore, please swear to me by Yahweh, since I have dealt kindly with you, that you will also deal kindly with my father's house, and give me a true sign, and that you will save alive my father, my mother, my brothers, and my sisters, and all that they have, and will deliver our lives from death." The men said to her, "Our life for yours, if you don't talk about this business of ours. And it shall be, when Yahweh gives us this land, that we will deal kindly and truly with you." Then she let them down by a cord through the window, for her house was on the side of the wall, and she lived on the wall. She said to them, "Go to the mountain, lest the pursuers find you. Hide yourselves there 3 days, until the pursuers have returned. Afterward you may go on your way." The men said to her, "We will be guiltless of this, your oath which you've made us to swear. Behold, when we come into the land, tie this line of scarlet thread in the window which you used to let us down. Gather to yourself into the house of your father, your mother, your brothers, and all your father's household. It shall be that whoever goes out of the doors of your house into the street, his blood will be on his head, and we will be guiltless. Whoever is with you in the house, his blood shall be on our head, if any hand is on him. But if you talk about this business of ours, then we shall be guiltless of your oath which you've made us to swear." She said, "Let it be as you have said." She sent them away, and they departed. Then she tied the scarlet line in the window. They went and came to the mountain, and stayed there 3 days, until the pursuers had returned. The pursuers sought them all along the way, but didn't find them. Then the 2 men returned, descended from the mountain, crossed the river, and came to Yehoshua the son of Nun. They told him all that had happened to them. They said to Yehoshua, "Truly Yahweh has delivered all the land into our hands. Moreover, all the inhabitants of the land melt away before us." Yehoshua got up early in the morning, and they moved from Shittim and came to the Yarden, he and all the children of Israel. They camped there before they crossed over. After 3 days, the officers went through the middle of the camp. And they commanded the people, saying, "When you see the ark of Yahweh your God's covenant, and the Levitical priests bearing it, then leave your place and follow it. Yet there shall be a space between you and it of about 2,000 cubits by measure. Don't come closer to it, that you may know the way by which you must go, for you have not passed this way before." Yehoshua said to the people, "Sanctify yourselves, for tomorrow Yahweh will do wonders among you." Yehoshua spoke to the priests, saying, "Take up the ark of the covenant and cross over before the people." They took up the ark of the covenant and went before the people. Yahweh said to Yehoshua, "Today I will begin to magnify you in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that as I was with Moshe, so I will be with you. You shall command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When you come to the brink of the waters of the Yarden, you shall stand still in the Yarden." Yehoshua said to the children of Israel, "Come here and hear the words of Yahweh your God." Yehoshua said, "By this you shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Hivite, the Perizzite, the Girgashite, the Amorite, and the Jebusite out from before you. Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passes over before you into the Yarden. Now, therefore, take 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, for every tribe a man. It shall be that when the soles of the feet of the priests who bear the ark of Yahweh, the Lord of all the earth, rest in the waters of the Yarden, that the waters of the Yarden will be cut off. The waters that come down from above shall stand in one heap. When the people moved from their tents to pass over the Yarden, the priests who bore the ark of the covenant being before the people, and when those who bore the ark had come to the Jordan, and the feet of the priests who bore the ark had dipped into the edge of the water, for the Yarden overflows all its banks all the time of harvest. The waters which came down from above stood and rose up in one heap a great way off, at Adam, the city that is beside Zaratan. And those that went down toward the sea of Arava, even the salt sea, were wholly cut off. Then the people crossed over near Jericho. The priests who bore the ark of Yahweh's covenant stood firm on dry ground in the middle of the Yarden, and all Israel crossed over on dry ground until all the nation had crossed completely over the Yarden. When all the nation had completely crossed over the Yarden, Yahweh spoke to Yehoshua, saying, Take 12 men out of the people, a man out of every tribe, and command them, saying, Take from out of the middle of the Yarden, out of the place where the priests' feet stood firm, 12 stones, carrying them over with you, and lay them down in the place where you'll camp tonight. Then Yehoshua called the 12 men whom he had prepared of the children of Israel, a man out of every tribe. Yehoshua said to them, Cross before the ark of Yahweh your God into the middle of the Yarden, and each of you pick up a stone and put it on your shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you, that when your children ask in the future, saying, What do you mean by these stones? Then you shall tell them, Because the waters of the Yarden were cut off before the ark of the Yahweh's covenant. When it crossed over the Yarden, the waters of the Yarden were cut off. These stones shall be for a memorial to the children of Israel forever. The children of Israel did as Yehoshua commanded, and took up 12 stones out of the middle of the Yarden, as Yahweh spoke to Yehoshua, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. They carried them over with them to the place where they camped, and laid them down there. Yehoshua set up 12 stones in the middle of the Yarden, in the place where the feet of the priests who bore the ark of the covenant stood, and they are there to this day. For the priests who bore the ark stood in the middle of the Yarden until everything was finished that Yahweh commanded Yehoshua to speak to the people, according to all that Moshe commanded Yehoshua. And the people hurried and crossed over. When all the people had completely crossed over, Yahweh's ark crossed over with the priests in the presence of the people. The children of Reuven and the children of Gad and the half-tribe of Manasseh crossed over armed before the children of Israel, as Moshe spoke to them. About 40,000 men, ready and armed for war, passed over before Yahweh to battle, to the plains of Jericho. On that day Yahweh magnified Yehoshua in the sight of all Israel, and they feared him as they feared Moshe, all the days of his life. Yahweh spoke to Yehoshua, saying, Command the priests who bear the ark of the covenant that they come up out of the Yarden. Yehoshua therefore commanded the priests, saying, Come up out of the Yarden. When the priests who bore the ark of the covenant had come up out of the middle of the Yarden, and the soles of the priests' feet had been lifted up to the dry ground, the waters of the Yarden returned to their place, and went over all its banks as before. The people came up out of the Yarden on the 10th day of the first month, and encamped in Gilgal, on the east border of Jericho. Yehoshua set up those 12 stones which they took out of the Yarden in Gilgal. He spoke to the children of Israel, saying, When your children ask their fathers in time to come, saying, What do these stones mean? Then you shall let your children know, saying, Israel came over this Yarden on dry land. For Yahweh your God dried up the waters of the Yarden from before you until you had crossed over, as Yahweh your God did to the Red Sea, which he dried up from before us until we had crossed over, that all the peoples of the earth may know that Yahweh's hand is mighty, and that you may fear Yahweh your God forever. So 2 cool things to point out in this story. One is that Rahab, when she has the 2 spies come into her house and she hides them and then lies to the officials of her own town about where they went. And then after the officials have left and pursued them, the 2 spies come down, and that's when Rahab makes the agreement, like, because I've done this for you, please save my family. And so I like that slight out of order that we would normally expect. We would normally expect more of like, if I protect you, if I save you, if I lie to my officials and keep you safe, will you keep my family safe when you attack? But instead, it's the opposite. It's Rahab. She picks the side before she knows whether or not she can be on that side. So that's just like an interesting outstepping of faith that is really cool to see here. And I think it's wonderful that it's her, the Rahab the prostitute, who it's her that saves her whole family. It's not just her and whoever's living, with her or like her immediate, but it's like all her father's household and brothers and mother and sister, like everybody associated with Rahab gets saved because of her stepping out on a limb saying, I have taken care of you. Please reciprocate and take care of me and my own. So that's wonderful in itself. And then the second thing is this whole crossing the Jordan notion. It's really neat because I like to point out the fact that in the beginning of Matthew, when we find John the Baptist, he's showing up and he's preaching and he's telling the nation of Israel to repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near, and then he's taking people down to the Jordan River and he's baptizing them, right? And so it kind of gives you a little bit of an understanding of what that baptism is all about in John the Baptist's mind. I mean, what's significant about baptizing in the Jordan River is that we see over and over again through the Old Testament story that when Israel is going from one state of being and going through to the place where Yahweh wants them to be and into this new covenant, into this new setup, like it's passing through the water. Like we see it first with the Exodus. Well, no, actually back up. We see it first with the flood, that Noah is saved through the water and then a covenant is made. And then we see the Exodus where Israel is taken out of Egypt through the Sea of Reeds or the Red Sea and a covenant is made. And then now we're seeing Israel again is passing across the Jordan River through the waters, one way of looking at it, but through the waters and into this new situation, this new lifestyle with Yahweh. And so how cool is it that John the Baptist is taking Israel back and saying, repent, the kingdom of heaven is near, and baptizing them in the Jordan River? That's significant. And so I hope you can think about that as you have a wonderful day.